installment of Tape Talk. I'm Steele Chambers, and to put it plain and simple, that was the best college football weekend we've gotten in a long time, folks. I mean, my God, from top to bottom, Friday night to Saturday night, it was just pure cinema. That is what college football is at its core. I absolutely loved every single second of it. But if you couldn't watch it for, say, you had an event, maybe you had a wedding to attend, I ask you to look that person in the eyes that invited you, and I want you to banish them from your entire life. I want you to excommunicate them from your life, because that is not a reasonable human being. You do not schedule something on a Saturday in the fall. You do not do that. That should be illegal in this country. You should also look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why the hell you would miss such a masterclass of a weekend of football. But we're moving on. We're going fast. We got two games we're looking at this week. First, we're going to go up north. We're going to watch the Siege of Happy Valley as the Oregon Ducks take on Penn State and beat them in a whiteout game. And then we're also going to go down south. We're going to look at the war between the hedges as the Alabama Crimson Tide beat Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. So, we're going to start up north. We're going to look at Oregon and Penn State. Let's get to the tape. It was a defensive stalemate for 3/4 of this game, but Oregon was obviously the better offense, a lot more proficient, able to move the ball a little more than Penn State, and that showed here in the third quarter. After stringing some plays together, they finally get a touchdown on this screen play here in the red zone. But what I want to highlight here are the big boys absolutely moving. First of all, they pass set in order to get these defenders to run upfield, effectively taking them out of the play. And then the QB is able to dump it off to the running back, and then he just follows the ministry of meat, just blocking their asses off, all these DBs, all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. Now, Drew Aller and Penn State, they were never out of this game. The offense started slow, but in the fourth quarter, they started to pick things up a little bit, and at the end of regulation, they were able to put together a 15-play drive and score in order to send it into overtime. So what they do here, they have number 10, running back Nick Singleton, right here off the ball. They motion him around, and they fake the toss to him. What does this do? This stops the middle linebacker's feet. Why do you want this guy freezing? Because they're going to send this wide receiver on a counter right back around where the tight end's going to kick out. Now, this toss right here, this fake toss, that's all you needed. That's all you need in order for this guy to lose a step, and then the wide receiver is able to outrun him and score a touchdown. Now, this is where the quarterback play really made a difference in this game. It's the first play of the second overtime, and Oregon runs a flood boot concept. What this is trying to flood Penn State's zone coverage. What it does, you have this guy on a deep route. He takes the top off the defense, takes away the deep defender. You've got a shallow route that puts the quarterback in a bind, making him want to come up. And then you've got this intermediate route coming all the way from across the field in which Dante Moore hits. Now, Dante Moore, cool, calm, collected. He looked like he was out practice out there. He was having a blast. He sees a little bit of pressure in his face. All he does is step up in the pocket, delivers an absolute dime to this shallow crossing route, and this guy's able to take it in for what would be the Oregon winning touchdown. Last play of the game here, Oregon's going to be in a two-high man. You've got your safety playing the deep halves, and then all around, you've got your guys all manned up. So what does Penn State try to do? They try to fake an outside zone, getting the safety and these linebackers to get up in the field. They have this X receiver run a deep go route, trying to make a little bit of space, and then they leak this tight end out, hoping that he's going to catch it right on the sideline and walk in for a touchdown. But Oregon sniffed it out. Their safety, number 31 here, he doesn't go down with this run. He stays horizontal, and he's able to pick the ball off and ultimately crush Penn State's hopes and dreams. And I mean, it was a great game all around, but you just hate to see it for Penn State. But Oregon, they came away with a fantastic victory in Happy Valley. Now we got College Football Classic. We got Georgia, Alabama in between the hedges. Always a fantastic game. Didn't disappoint this year. And Alabama, they came to play. Immediately out the gate, they came out swinging. First quarter, first drive, they ended up scoring on this double post here. So, Georgia, they were in what we're just going to call man-to-man defense. It was cover 4 technically, but in this sake, we're going to call it man. This wide receiver, he motioned over from the field, so they saw it was man-to-man coverage because the guy followed him. And then both of these guys, the wide receiver and tight end, they're going to run 2 posts. Now, the key to this, the tight end, he takes an inside release, so this linebacker gets his eyes and his body inside, and ultimately it opens up a window for this receiver to score and beat his man in one-on-one coverage. This is where I think Alabama separated themselves from Georgia, and that was just the creativity in their play calling. They're doing all these shifts and motions. Next thing you know, you look out wide, you've got an 18-wheeler lined up at wide receiver. So you're probably thinking, oh, they're going to motion and get another guy out, just throw a little screen pass and he's going to block. No, f that. Let's get the ball to the big man. They throw it out wide to Kane Proctor, and you know what he does? He says, I'm not going to do any of this tip-tap and shit. I want to make these boys feel me. He puts his head down, and he knows that it takes a village to take that man down. Gets all the way down the 2-yard line, then next play, Ty Simpson's able to run it in for another Bama touchdown. Georgia was very successful running the ball, but then at some point at the end of the game, their play calling just got all out of whack, and Alabama was able to stop them a lot more, especially here in the fourth quarter. So Alabama, they're in a man-to-man defense, and then they have two mugged-up linebackers in the A-gaps, and then this safety here playing a robber. What Georgia does, they decide to run a QB GT counter, meaning guard and tackle. So the whole point of this play is for this guard to come around, kick out this end, this tackle to come around, all the way up to the safety, and then hopefully the rest of the line is able to just wash out the rest of the defense. But that's not how it really worked out. Alabama was able to defend this because they had one linebacker that blitzed and crossed face of the center, and then this other linebacker, he came around, saw the pullers, and was able to pull out and then ultimately join the party. And then this DN number 22, he comes up, he blows up both blockers, he just makes it an absolute shit show. This leaves this safety wide open to make the tackle on this QB along with this linebacker that came over the top, ultimately making a fourth down. But then Kirby Smart, just trying to be a little too aggressive, doesn't even think about a field goal, just tries to snap the ball quick, run an outside zone, but then Alabama DN LT Overton just blows it up and destroys all of Georgia's momentum. And then the biggest decider of the game, Alabama just dominated on third downs, especially on this last play to ice the entire game. Bama puts a receiver in motion, and the DB runs with them, so it's man-to-man coverage. Knowing that, they also know that this linebacker is going to be manned up on the running back. So what do they do with that information? The running back leaks weak immediately while the QB fakes a fast sprint out to the field, reverses back around, and now they've just created another flood boot concept to the boundary. But this doesn't really matter because Georgia's in man. This linebacker had bad eyes. He wasn't able to react fast enough. Not able to sift through all the traffic and get to this running back. So Ty Simpson just stubs it down to the running back. They get the first down, and they snap Georgia's home winning streak. It was a fantastic game between the hedges. Fantastic games all around college football. But I mean, I felt this one was just a little more special.